Hi, my name is Mark, and today I'd like to tell you more about Legends of Void. I got this game from publisher, thanks for sending it for review. And Legends of Void is a fantasy game where you defeat the outer lands from the Void and from the Seraphs, big monsters, roaming around the land and destroying everything. I know it sounds like a description of an adventure storytelling game, but no, this is a strategy Euro game for 1 to 4 players. So in a second I will tell you what the game is about and how the game plays, and then after that we will be back here and I will tell you my opinion on Legends of Void. This is Legends of Void during gameplay. It's not the beginning of the game because I wanted to show you some more stuff already on the table. As I mentioned earlier, the main goal of the game is to defeat the 3 Seraphs. They are here, 3 monsters, godlike creatures, walking around the land, destroying everything. And in order to truly win the game in a competitive mode, you have to defeat all 3 Seraphs. If you don't defeat them, they will destroy everything, and then you will still score points, because in the competitive game you always calculate your victory points when the game ends, and the player with most victory points win. The difference is that if you manage to defeat all 3 Seraphs before the end of the game, because there is a timer with event cards. Before the game starts, you prepare the event deck, and at the end of each round you reveal 1 card. When the last card is revealed, the game ends. If you manage to defeat all Seraphs before the game ends, you will score victory points for more things, because normally you will score points for your Lumen, Lumen from the Lumen board. This is like your, you can say, basic, those are your basic victory points. But if you manage to defeat the 3 monsters, each player will also score for some cards, for some bonuses, for strongholds that you manage to build on the board. And if the Seraphs are not defeated, if you lose the game, then players only calculate points from this Lumen board. So you have those 3 Seraphs. There are more of them in the game box. You have 3 of them here. You randomly take 3 of them. Each Seraph has got an artwork, has got some shield value, shows a resource that you have to discard from your play area in order to be able to deal damage to the Seraph. And here are some effects that trigger when the event card is revealed. Each Seraph has also got a secret. This is like a secret card. If you manage to fulfill one of the conditions shown of this card, you can claim it, and then you will add it to your tableau, and this card will be like other cards in your tableau. You will be able to use it. And of course, each Seraph has got life points. This is life point tracker. The number of life points depend on the number of players in the game. So we have the Seraphs. Here we have the board. Each Seraph is represented by this standee, and this standee is used to travel around the map, because at the end of each round, when you reveal one of the top event cards, the card also tells you which Seraph moves in which direction, in which pattern, and when they walk around the board, they destroy the land and they leave empty areas where they walked. Here, as I said earlier, this is the Lumen board, and this basically shows your victory points. Each time you will deal damage to the Seraph, you will advance on this Lumen board. Here are some tiles, also randomly chosen at the start of the game, that show you additional victory points that you can get when the game ends for finishing these 3 objectives. But you only will score for those objectives if you manage to defeat those Seraphs, because if you don't manage to defeat those Seraphs, you will only calculate points from this Lumen board. And then each player in the game has got this resource board. This is the board where you will track your resources and production. Those are gold. This is gold resource that you basically spend to buy and play different scroll cards. These are your hero points. You can think of them like action points that you will spend to move your hero. You have your hero standee. You will move your hero around the board and do different things. This is Mithril. You pay with Mithril to build strongholds, fortresses on the map. And here is mana. This is dark matter, and this is genasi, and this is used to like build special tiles on the map that deal damage to the Seraphs, which is like the goal of the game. So, and here you track the production of those resources. You cannot produce dark matter and you cannot produce genasi. They will be like created at the end of the round from mana, but I will talk about it a little later. When you start the game, you will choose a hero and you will choose a faction. A hero and a faction, apart for giving you some special abilities that you will be able to use during the game, like actions and passive abilities, they will also give you starting production, some starting resources, and the hero card shows your power, the power of your attack if you want to fight Seraph, and this shows you your movement, the amount of hexes you can move when you perform the move action. You will gain the scroll cards as well at the start of the game, and those are I would say, the most important thing in the whole game, because scroll cards you will play to get bonuses, get resources, deal damage, increase your production. They will give you additional actions, and as you can see, there is this huge stack of scroll cards that you will draft and you will gain during the game. So those are the most important things. How you play the game. The whole game is divided into rounds. Each round is basically like 1 year, and each round, each year is divided into 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter. Sorry, and during each season you will do different stuff. When you have spring, you will take 4 cards from this deck, 4 scrolls, and you will be able to buy those cards. In a multiplayer game you will draft, like you will take 1 card, give the rest to the other player. In a solo game you just take 4 of them, and you can keep as many as you want, but you have to pay 3 gold for each of them. Each scroll card, when you acquire it, and when you will be if you want to play this card later to your tableau, then you will have to pay the cost in gold shown here. Some of the cards, they have some additional cost, like here you have to pay 3 mana. Some of them have requirement of you having other cards already in your tableau with this icon here. All those scroll cards, they have those tags in the top right corner, and those tags, as you can see, are required sometimes to play other cards. Other cards tell you sometimes to calculate specific tag to gain some bonuses, so those tags are very important. And those cards, they have the artwork here. They have this one-time bonus that you get when you pay and play this card to your tableau. And some cards, they have, apart from this one-time bonus, they have this additional action that you can perform if the card is in your tableau. So you have to like spend the thing on the left of the arrow to gain the thing on the right of the arrow. So those are the scroll cards. So in the spring you will draft scroll cards, you will be able to buy them, and you will be able to keep them in your hand. And then from spring we go to summer, and during summer you will be able to perform all the actions, and this is the most important phase because this is like your action phase. In a multiplayer game, each player can perform 2 actions, then the next player can perform 2 actions, and so on, and it will go back to you, and you can perform another 2 actions. You can perform actions as long as you perform 2 of them. If you perform only 1, or you cannot perform any action, you will pass. When you pass, you will remove a blessing from your play area. Those are special bonuses that you gain at the end of each round and during the setup. You will remove the blessing that you had during this turn, and you will choose one of the 6 other blessings that are available. You have 7 of blessings in each game. You will pick different blessing and you will gain it. So what actions you can do? You can spend, basically there are like 2 types of actions. One type of action is that you can spend your hero points here to perform actions with your hero, and those actions include walking around the board. You can spend 1 hero action, 1 hero point to move on the map by the distance shown on your hero card. Also you can travel between your object on the map if you have built something, and this like this tile has your cube, you can treat those cubes as adjacent, so you can move around the map. You can spend hero points to gather resources. Some hexes have resources shown on them, and if you are on this hex, you can pay 1 hero point to dig and to claim those resources. You can seize a secret of the Seraph. So if you're adjacent to a Seraph, you can get the secret card as long as you fulfill the condition written on this card. You can escape the Void. The Void is the area in the center of the map, and some effects of the game, they move you to this area in the middle, so you can spend 1 action point to go out. Basically, you don't want to stay inside this Void. You can fight a Seraph. If you're adjacent to a Seraph, you can fight it. This is your basic strength. You can spend additional hero points to increase your strength by 1. Each hero point spent increases your fight power by 1. If your fight power, you will also get fight power from some cards that you have. If your fight power is equal or higher than the shield of the Seraph you want to attack, and if you pay the resource shown on the shield, you can deal 1 damage to the Seraph. You will lower its health and you will gain 1 lumen point here. You can also build different things on the board, and the things you can build depend on the resources that you spend, because you can spend mithril to build strongholds. The strongholds, they give you 1 victory point when the game ends in multiplayer mode, but they also kind of protect your other tiles that are adjacent to the stronghold from the Seraphs, because the Seraphs, they walk around the map, and if there is a tile that is unprotected by the fortress, by the stronghold, then the Seraph can destroy this tile. So you can spend 7 mithril to build stronghold. You can spend 7 genazi, this green resource, to place those. All the things in this game have strange names. Like this is called vite, something like this, and you place it on the board. You will use 1 cube in your color here, and then you will deal damage to the Seraph in the corresponding region. So you can spend genazi to build these green tiles. If you're adjacent to a portal, you can spend mana to flip the portal tile to create a sigil, and this will also deal damage to a Seraph. If you're adjacent to Nihil, those like gray tiles that cover everything, and those tiles are left by Seraphs, you can turn it into desert. You have to pay dark matter, 7 dark matter, and you will flip it, and again you will deal damage to a Seraph. So there are many ways to deal damage to different Seraphs, but you have to spend different type of resources. And you can also spend 7 gold to gain 1 resource of any type. So those are the hero actions that you can perform. But there's also other action that is quite important, and this is like playing one of the scroll cards in your hand. As I said, you have to pay the cost shown in the top left corner. If you pay the cost, you will play this card into your tableau. You will gain this 1 time benefit, and then if there is an action, this card will stay in your tableau, and then you will be able to perform the action as long as you can afford the cost of the action. They have different costs, they have different tags, they have different bonuses, different actions, and they are like most important in the game, because those cards are used to build your whole engine, resource, production, and everything in the game, because you start quite weak in the game at the start of the game, but during the game, the more cards you play, the more production you increase, you will be able to perform more advanced or more powerful actions and effects. You can also, if you want, you can perform one of the actions on any of the cards in your tableau. You can also discard one of the scroll cards in your hand to gain 1 gold if you want to, and as I said, you can pass. If you pass, you will remove this blessing that you got last round, and you will claim a new one. You cannot get the same blessing twice. When all players pass, then there is autumn. In autumn, you will produce. And the production works like this, that first 2 dark matter turn into 1 Genasi. Each unspent mana turns into dark matter. You will produce mithril according to your production value. You will produce mana according to your mana production value. You will remove all hero cubes that you didn't spend, and you will produce new one according to your hero production value. And you will claim, get mana, get gold. Gold is equal to your gold production plus your level on the lumen board. At the end of autumn, you will also get the bonus from this blessing tile that you acquired when you passed in the summer. After autumn, there is winter, and during winter, not all, but the Seraphs will act. You have to reveal the top card from the event deck, and this card first shows you which Seraph will be acting during this winter, because only one Seraph will walk and deal damage to all players. Not all of them. You take the first icon, and the Seraph will activate. If the Seraph is not available on the board, then you activate the second one. If the second one is also already dead, you activate the third one. If all 3 are gone, then the game is over. So you activate the Seraph shown here. The Seraph moves according to this pattern here. Where it started, you place portal. On each tile it moved through, you place Nihil. If on this pattern he cannot move to a tile in direction shown here, because he cannot move to Nihil tiles, he cannot move to portal tiles, he cannot move, for example, to the Void or Stronghold, then you will rotate the Seraph to the direction shown in the top left corner, and you will continue walking. After he finishes walking, then you will perform the bottom ability, and basically usually this is a curse. The Seraph shown here, because they have the symbol here, will trigger the curse ability, and you will either lose lumen point or you will choose to lose the resources shown here. And this is on the basic event cards. The more advanced event cards, they do more damage. He walks a bigger distance. The Seraphs can curse you twice, or they can curse you and trigger Void Wave. This is the second ability shown here. And if it open, if you reveal the last card, this is the end of the game. So the Seraph moves, they create havoc on the board, they leave Nihil tiles and portal tiles, they destroy the tiles that they move to. And this is the end. Then you go to next round, next year, that starts with spring. You will draft cards, then there is summer, you will perform actions, autumn, production, and again winter. This is the multiplayer game. As I said earlier, if all players manage to defeat the Seraphs, then you will calculate your points. It's based on your lumen position on the lumen board, additional objectives here, some cards that you have, strongholds. But if the Seraphs were not destroyed and the game ends, you will only get points from this lumen board. The solo mode works very similar. The things you do in the game are exactly the same. In the solo game, there is one additional dummy player, but the dummy player does nothing, just stays on the board. It's only for the purpose of some scroll cards, because some scroll cards, they allow you to do something if you are near other player or if you are adjacent to other player tile. So this is why the dummy player is on the board, but he's doing nothing. Your goal in the solo game is to defeat 3 Seraphs before the game ends. If you manage to do it, you win. If you don't manage to defeat those Seraphs, you will lose the game. You have this additional small board here, and the small board works like this, that if you manage to complete one of the objectives during the game, you can ask the dummy player to deal 1 damage to a Seraph. So for example here, if you have 5 cards with the stack, you can place your cube and deal 1 damage to 1 Seraph, only once per game. If you have 5 sigil tiles on the board with your cube, you can also deal 1 damage to Seraph. And if you have 5 locations for 5 tiles in the area, and then you also can deal 1 damage to a Seraph. But that's basically it. And in the solo game, each time you would lose 1 lumen point here, for example, from going to the void in the center or by other effect, instead of losing 1 lumen point, you will increase the life points of one of the active Seraph that is active for the given round. So this is very dangerous because your goal is to lower all Seraphs' health to 0, and if they gain health points, you will have bigger problems to defeat them. But this is basically how you play Legends of Void. Let me tell you what I think about this game. So what are the things that I like and that I don't like about Legends of Void? First, I have to say that this is like a very interesting and unique variation on Terraforming Mars, because you have to admit, if you play Terraforming Mars, that a lot of things in this game feel similar, like all the scroll cards that you have and producing resources, putting different tiles on the map. But still the game feels different, feels unique, feels interesting. It's more advanced than Terraforming Mars. You have more options, more actions. You have the hero, and you move with your hero around the board. You have those Seraphs that also move around the board. So this is very interesting, like Terraforming Mars on big steroids. The second thing I like the story and the theme of this game. As I said earlier, this is a Euro game, but it's a fantasy game with monsters, with outer lands, with Lumen, the floating citadel, and you have the Void that wants to swallow everything. For me, it's cool. I like fantasy games. I like fantasy settings, so it feels quite fresh to have a Euro strategy game set in a fantasy universe. The game has got very good replayability. I have made an unboxing video, you can check it here on my channel a few months ago, but the amount of different cards that you use to set up, like the gift cards and factions and heroes, the board is modular because this is constructed from different tiles and it's double-sided. There are even more segments to the board that are not used in this particular here setup. All the Lumen cards, everything, you have very different things like the goals on Lumen cards, different Seraphs. Every game that you will play will look a little different, with different maps, different cards, different factions, and those factions, those gift cards, those Lumen blessings, they all affect the gameplay, so this is really cool. Another thing, you have hundreds of scroll cards, and this is great because each scroll card is unique and gives you different actions, different abilities, different bonuses. So yeah, as I said earlier, a lot of replayability, but with all those scroll cards, you have really a lot of options and a lot of actions, and you can have different strategies how to play the game. There are different play modes in this game. You have competitive mode, you could say the default mode, but you have also solo mode in this game. You have cooperative mode for 2 players, for 3 players. So this is nice. Having different options to play a game is really good, because depending on your play group and the people you play with, sometimes you may want to play competitive game, sometimes cooperative game, and sometimes if you're like alone at home, you can play solo mode. After reading the rules, I was worried that the game will be quite difficult, but I have to say that the rules are very intuitive and the rulebook is written quite well. Everything is explained very good, and to be honest, after 1 or 2 rounds in the game, you really remember everything, and you have all those like action, the reference cards, and you have like a help reference sheet in the box as well that like summarize all the things that you can do in the game. So this is nice. Intuitive rules are really important in such a, you could say, complex and heavy game like Legends of Void. And I have to say that I really like the artwork and the table presence in this game. When I reviewed Fall of Lumen, the second game from this publisher, I already said there that the game looks really great, the art, the cards, everything looks great. And we have the same thing here. When you set up the round board on the table and all the cards and the fantasy artwork on the Seraphs and the scrolls, it looks really, really cool. And even though you don't have miniatures, you have those standees, but those standees look really good as well. So I really like the table presence. And what are the things that I don't like about this game? I have to say that this game is quite random. As you can see, and as you can guess, we have this huge stack of the scroll cards. And if you're unlucky in a game, you will like end up with some cards that are useless for you, for your tableau. And there's not many, that aren't many ways to like get new cards, you don't have a market with cards that you can acquire. You have a draft at the start of each round, but when you play solo, you don't draft, you get 4 cards and that's it, and you can buy cards from those 4 that you got. So I have to say, especially when you play solo, with as many cards as here, sometimes you may like wait for a special type of card and you might not get it during the whole gameplay. This is problem with all the games with that many cards, like Terraforming Mars, and we had Ark Nova, hundreds of cards, and sometimes if you are unlucky, you may not get this cards that you want. And the second thing, this is my biggest problem with the game, is that this game, especially in solo, I think is absolutely punishing, unforgiving, and difficult, because your main goal in the solo game is to defeat all those Seraphs. And even if you start with their health at 13 without increasing the difficulty, then basically it means that you have to deal 39 damage to the Seraphs in order to win, and you have only 10 rounds to do it. And for me, this is impossible. It's impossible to win this game. I know that this is the case that maybe I suck and I'm bad at this game. I read Board Game Geek forum, and I have a feeling that the people that play the game solo, they are divided into 2 groups. One group is people who completely cannot win and have difficulty to score any points in this game and think that this game is too difficult. And there is the second group that think that the game is okay and they have managed to win many times and everything is okay. I'm in the first group. I struggle to win the game, I have problems to win the game, and it's absolutely difficult. I had to say I had the same problem with Fall of Lumen, and I understand that this publisher, they want to create a difficult, challenging solo mode, and also this is what they say on Board Game Geek in all the comments and forum threads. They are very active and they help people when they have questions, but they always say that their goal was to create a challenging and difficult solo mode. And this solo mode is challenging and difficult. For me, maybe too challenging and too difficult, because I have nothing against losing in a board game, but I don't like losing all the time. And also because the game is quite complex, the setup takes quite a long time, and then you have to put back everything in the box. The gameplay is quite long. It's not that fun to lose every time, because when you play a quick solo game like, I don't know, Final Girl, that setup takes 5 minutes and the game takes 40 minutes. If you lose the game, nothing happens, you can replay the game. But if you commit your time to playing a game like Legends of Void, and if you spend 2 hours, maybe more, to play the game, and then you lose and you lose again and you lose again, it's very frustrating, at least for me. So I have to say that, and in the multiplayer game, it's not that big problem, because okay, in the multiplayer game you still have to defeat those Seraphs, but if you don't defeat them, you will still calculate your victory points from the Lumen board, and one player will be victorious. So if you play a multiplayer game, even if you don't defeat Seraphs, you still can, compete with other players to win the game. And in a solo mode, you either defeat the Seraphs or you lose. So I have to say that if you like very challenging, very difficult and complex and, very optimization heavy games to play solo, you should definitely try Legends of Void, because it looks amazing and has got interesting mechanics. But if you don't like too difficult game and if you don't like to lose all the time, then Legends of Void might be not a game for you. But if you have a group to play multiplayer, it's really worth playing, because if you ever play Terraforming Mars and you thought that Terraforming Mars is too easy, doesn't look great, and it's too casual a game, this is your advanced version of Terraforming Mars. So a cool game, not for everyone, especially not for everyone in case of solo, but overall a nice game. And Fall of Lumen was also quite cool, and I'm really interested what will be the next game from Twoid Games, because they make interesting and cool games, and all those games look good, and all those games are fantasy games, and I love fantasy games. Let me know in the comments if you play Legends of Void, if you played this game. This game is 2 years old, 3 years old, so I think that some of you might already play this game. Let me know in the comments if you want this game, if you think this game is too easy or too difficult. Tell me that I'm not tell me that this game is difficult and I'm not that bad Eurogamer. So thanks for watching, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, visit me on social media, you can find all the links in the description. See you next time, bye.